This
Yeah.
is an initiative of 10 News Network. We are live right now, and
Yeah.
I can see that you are really very cheerful, and Corona has not taken, at least as far as you are concerned, the Corona has not taken at all on your well-being. So that is so very pleasing to see this. It's a very
Thank
welcome
you so
sight.
much, sir.
I
Thank
must laud you for this, and I think it is positivity which would eventually clinch the battle for us.
Right, sir.
Staying positive and spreading positivity, I think, would win us the day, win us this battle, and enable us to hand a crushing defeat to Corona.
True. True.
Excellent, excellent. So let us all welcome our very esteemed viewers of 10 News Network, who have
Yeah.
always supported us, and who, in fact, yesterday we had conducted a very special webinar themed Delhi NGOs, Hunger Warriors and Lockdown. And this webinar, thanks to our very esteemed web viewers, we were able to, this webinar was able to evoke an overwhelming response. So heartfelt gratitude to all the web viewers. And I would again emphasize upon the fact that 10 News has always taken the lead, the initiative in highlighting issues of paramount importance. And today being no exception, we would be in the next 1 hour from now, we would be brainstorming on a lot of issues, germane issues pertaining to career development and personality enhancement, personality grooming, and then how eventually it goes on to play a very crucial role in nation building. So they're all correlated. So,
Yeah.
beginning with you, Priyanka, let me just give a brief background of what you have accomplished so far in your very illustrious career so far. You have been a personality architect. That is how I would describe you today. And then bilingual coach, pageant groomer, and then of course you have to your credit 300 plus awards in diverse categories. I think that's an accomplishment in itself, and something which you can always take pride in. And
Yeah.
you have been a gold medalist at the university level, and then of course Mrs. India International 2019, and then you are a guest faculty in LPU, YMCA, and Manav Rachna University, and you are also the
Right.
director of Empower Kids Personality School. So that's quite a feat, Priyanka. I must applaud you,
Thank you.
and
Thank you so much.
definitely a pleasure to be conducting this very interactive, very engaging session with you this afternoon, Sunday afternoon. So
Thank you.
my first question to you would be uh, pertaining to Corona, because everyone is in a lockdown mode. We are all in the confines of our of the four walls of our homes, and
Yeah.
you know uh, have so far last 45 days plus we have displayed exemplary virtues of restraint, resolve, and resilience. And now also we are pledged that till the time we are able to actually had a crushing defeat to Corona, we would maintain all the discipline. So in this
Yeah.
time of lockdown, Priyanka, what is your special advice to people who are, understandably, the stress levels have gone up, and then there's no work. Though some of the people definitely are working from home, they are maintaining the tempo. But then, what is your advice to all such people? Because all throughout your career, you've been advising people on how to put their best foot forward. So, what is your
Yeah.
what is your advice to all these people, youngsters
Thank you
especially?
so much, sir. Yeah, thank you so much, Bipin sir, for having me on board. I mean, it itself is such a big, prestige platform to be available on 10 Network and to be sharing my insight with all the viewers. I would like to say thank you to viewers who are investing time and taking the learnings out of it. Now, be it a lockdown situation or any situation, I always feel we need to start our morning autonomy in a very precise way with a growth oriented task. Now, a lot of people start their day with a lot of management oriented tasks. So, I'll give you an example. Imagine your day when you wake up in the morning is like a water bottle, it's filled. So, you sip, and the battery is getting drained, right? And imagine the same time, if the morning hours you are trying to invest into getting into mobile phones addictions or playing some games or looking into some of the newses which are not adding any values to you in any form, or maybe you're into social pools, social networkings, which is not adding at all any much value in your career growth, and your energy is going down from that point, and then you are engaging to other activities and no growth oriented task, then how would you expect your growth to really get into a graph? I always, whosoever I trained, I groom, I always tell them, look, find out list down the activities which you do in a day. What are your growth oriented tasks and what are the management oriented tasks? Do the growth oriented task got first as a priority, because that will diversify your graph in your growth, and do the management oriented in the second zone. So just like don't get into something which is just for the sake of time investing you are putting by. So you could invest your time into listening to the podcast, which are available free. You have a lot of YouTubes. You can think of the mindfulness. Start your day with the spirituality. I'm myself a very spiritual person. I feel mindfulness, spirituality, yoga, it gives you a lot of focus in your life. This way, one need to start the morning autonomy in the personal growth. And then obviously it becomes a pattern and soon it will become a practice. Anything which you do in 21 days becomes your practice. And if you continue doing it for 90 days, it becomes your behavior. So 21 days, you have to push yourself doing it. And trust me, it becomes a behavior automatically.
Well said. So you were talking about management segmenting, having a
Exactly.
clear-cut segmentation between growth and management.
Right,
So
right.
when we talk
Everybody has to have.
right, so when we talk about key responsibility areas, KRAs, so
Yeah.
where does the role of personality groomer come into play when it comes to
Okay.
actually defining the KRAs? Because a
Right.
lot of people, I'm sure, would be seeking your expert advice when it comes to facing interviews and then going for a new career opening. So in such a
Right.
scenario, what is the advice you offer to them? And then do these candidates also seek your expert advice on KRAs?
Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. Very valid question. And somebody intellectual like you could really bring such thing forward, which can really add values. For me, first we need to understand what is personality. It is not just like your external appearance. It is your complete characteristic set of your behavior, cognition, and your emotional patterns. It really reflects in your aura. So whosoever you are dealing with, that person is able to find out, judge you, or make some judgments about your personality within that 30 seconds of the impact that person has, or interaction, even before interaction, that 30 second which the person has with you. Now, with all due respect, we have a very good education system, but we are never emphasizing on growth task. We are never emphasizing how a person has to have certain etiquettes to present, how a person have to have a communication skills to present, how a person has to have different mindset, or the way to just jot down the patterns and speak in a way that it is more impactful. And a personality architect like me, there are many, we really help filling this gap. So everybody has a very unique personality. Somebody has a very unique characteristic about the emotional patterns. So we really, whatever physical pattern you have got, it is complete cognition of your emotional, spiritual, and your core needs. So people when they come, उन्हें लगता है कि शायद मैं उन्हें कुछ वॉक करना या टॉक करना फर्स्ट क्लास में सिखाती हूँ. But honestly, I start with their खूबसूरती first rather than खूबसूरती. खूबसूरती के साथ हम जन्मे हैं, उसमें आपको ज्यादा एनहांस नहीं कर सकते. बट जब आप अपने इंटरनल फैक्टर्स को ठीक करना स्टार्ट करते हैं, खूबसूरती पे काम करना स्टार्ट करते हैं, ऑटोमेटिकली इट रिफ्लेक्ट्स. So it has a lot of psychological patterns which we work on. Because I'm a PhD in psychology, I use a lot of psychological patterns which really breaks this ineffective behavior, and people come out to be more confident. They express their thought more clearly without having a fear of judgments or without having a fear of failure at all. So this is how it's like. It's a small aha moment which are used in the technologies, which are used with the mix of technology to help the best out of the character.
Very useful information you've imparted. And so how do you actually help prospective job seekers consolidate their strengths and overcome their shortcomings?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. That's a wonderful question. I am also a youth empowerment coach, so I'm associated with a lot of universities, and I'm talking about the A-class universities. I would not like to mention the name, but people, when they do the degrees, they are doing the degrees because most of the people are doing that specific degree. And some people are doing those degrees because there is an immense peer pressure or a pressure from the parents. And there is never a clarity in the mind about the passion acknowledgement. We are not doing any discussion about the passion acknowledgement. Now, whenever you don't have a passion into anything and you land up doing something, it is a lot of stressful situation, right? So first we find out, okay, now you have this degree and you want to encash it. Let's find out what this degree can give you. Let's talk about the strength, what it gives you. Suppose if it is giving you livelihood, and that is the need of an hour. So that is one of the things you are getting anyways. And then try your weekends to invest into your passion. So by the time this plan A is working, you already have plan B in place. This is how you could really, invest in your time. So it's all about the involvement of, the person want to achieve of his passion. And suppose there are people who simply just want to get into the jobs, and trust me, if you have a paper degree or if you have a very A-class degree, it gets you an entry, but the sustainability you will never have. The sustainability will be able to achieve when you have a complete personality which takes you to that level. So perhaps it's just a door opener. Okay, you have an A-class certificate, so you can just go in and you will be interviewed in a nicer way, and maybe with your percentage and with the company reputation, with the organization reputation, they will even give you a job. But you won't be able to sustain it if you don't have a character, if you don't have that power to really build up to that job. So this we all need to understand. Yeah. So I think a lot of children, the youth really miss out this information. For them, investing this much amount is guarantee and insurance to my job, which is actually not a fact. We all know it. We are in the industry. We know it very well.
Right. So while there is no denying that paper degrees have their own relevance, and they take you places, but then I'm pretty sure that you would be also sharing, some sort of an approximate percentage of candidates who have the requisite qualification, the degrees per se, but then they eventually don't land up the kind of job openings which they are seeking, which they are desiring. And eventually when you evaluate, then you come to the conclusion that it is the personality development, your overall interpersonal skills, communications, soft skills also had a role in that particular candidate not able to get the desired portfolio he or she was seeking.
Right. True, sir, because people whosoever feel that just having a degree let me have a desired job and livelihood for the life, it is actually practically not possible. You are dealing with people, you are dealing with different people when you get into an organization, when you get into a real practical life. And if you don't have a people skill, if you don't have that interpersonal skill, if you don't have an art to win on people and influence them, then trust me, this is just a piece of paper in that case. It has never ever groomed you in a way which is desired out from you. एंड हम सबको अपने अंदर ये खुद के अंदर से आना चाहिए कि मुझे इस जगह पर सस्टेन करने के लिए ऐसी क्या क्या चीजें हैं जो चेंज करनी है बिकॉज द ओनली थिंग विच इज कांस्टेंट इज चेंज so based on the different demand and based on the time demand you need to keep changing yourself, you need to keep enhancing yourself. Yeah, so
correct. So now if we do a breakup of all these different traits, we would come down to saying that eventually at the end of the day, it is the totality of four factors mainly. One, the paper degrees, then hands-on training, the overall experience which a particular candidate has for a particular opening, and then people skill, as you rightly put it, and then the ability, the competence, the faculty to manage stress, because stress
Exactly.
undoubtedly is an inevitable component of today's corporate world. Not just
Right.
corporate world, the government sector, the public sector, the corporate world. I think all these segments, the life is pretty stressful. So you need to cope with the stress, and then the candidates who find themselves in a sticky situation, then somehow they are not able to sustain themselves in a
Exactly.
particular job.
Yeah, right. We have seen the way you have a employment rates, you have a lot of attrition rates in the corporate life. I have invested
Absolutely, I
like
was hinting at
15
that
years.
only. Yeah.
Yes, I have spent 15 years in a corporate life. I've seen people really losing their jobs, having did degrees, having greater credentials, good experience, still leaving the job. Still, they were asked to leave because of not having a people management skills, because not having a leadership skills, because not having a social behavior which is expected out from them. So these are all parameters which makes you a complete person. So anything you miss out, then you have a big toss to, big loss of share in the growth.
So, absolutely. So we are living in this era of multitaskers. So
Yeah.
what do HR managers actually look for in a particular
Okay.
candidate? What is that
Thank
mantra
you.
to actually crack the code, get going?
All right. Thank you, sir. Honestly, if I'll ask you, even if you ask yourself, what are the few qualities you look into the people? And they're all related to attitude. So we have these three skills: knowledge, skills, and attitude, right? So the knowledge, everybody has it because it is provided in the classroom, it is provided in the institution, it is in the form of degrees, it is in the form of universities, and it is available for everyone. So knowledge is like, no, there is no competition with the knowledge. We need to understand. Now, how about the skills? The skill set is something when the knowledge is actually put into the practicality. Now, people who have got a good hands-on, that is one of the edge HR really look forward, because that is a skill they can really, it can be used in the organization. The very big factor, which is like 50%, is attitude. It's completely attitude. It is about the behavior skills. It is about the soft skills. It is the way you carry yourself. It is the way you interact with people. It's all moving around the skill set of your attitude. So even if you in mathematically form, if we put A as number one and do the sum of attitude, it comes out to be 100. And rest other formats for success factors comes out to be 80, 60, 70, something like that. So if attitude is this big skill, why do we really forget that we need to really keep enhancing our attitude and our ability accordingly to the time demands? So everyone, whosoever in the HR round, when they are interviewing people, they are actually 50% of the time you pass or you sustain the job because you have attitude. You have attitude to be in that job. You have attitude to enhance yourself. You're open to
So
the
in this,
changes.
so in this case, you are terming or you're defining attitude in the positive. It has a positive connotation. That is what you're trying to
Exactly.
insinuate.
Exactly.
Because normally in the day-to-day life, we take attitude as some sort of a negative connotation. But here
Oh
in
no, sir.
the
It is attitude is about how you see your perspective about things, right?
so
If
if
there
you mean
are
to say
there, yeah.
if you have it, you flaunt it.
If you have
As
a
simple as
right
that.
attitude, it has to be a right attitude. It has to be a very productive and constructive attitude. Nothing about pulling someone down to just put yourself up. So attitude, I'm not just talking about the flaunting. I'm talking about helping. It has to be more in a cognitive way, not in a way which is like making someone feel little less or little petite than you. So people
So there is
eventually
all the
they look forward for
so
people.
here there is all
Yeah,
the difference between attitude with a
yeah.
with good
It has to be a
positivity
right
and
attitude, exactly.
having a snob attitude. So this is what you're
Right.
talking in
Yes,
the
exactly,
positive
sir.
approach. Okay,
Right.
so Priyanka, the next thing coming your way is how do you draw a distinction between orientation program and an induction
Yeah.
program? Because
Okay.
what I understand as a layman is that an orientation program is basically offered to people, the prospective job seekers, uh, in order to help them put their best foot forward, and then actually help them clinch the battle, when they face when they go for an interview. And then, whereas an induction program is when a candidate actually gets the appointment letter, and then first few days, maybe a fortnight, is invested in actually grooming the particular candidate in the induction program. So how do you actually, for the sake of our web viewers, how do you draw a distinction between an induction program and an orientation program?
Sure, sir. Orientation for me is like something which is like various options available in front of you. It is usually done by the corporates even in the with the university tie-ups at the time when they are in a final years or so. They conduct such orientation to show what kind of skill set or the jobs opening can be available and what are the demands of the organizations. Now, with the university level, there are a lot of contracts with good corporate companies. They come and do this thing. Induction is something when you are already being appointed and taken off, absorbed onto the role, and company wants you to know inside of the company how they are able to make the profit, what are the key people who are working into it, who they have to align themselves to, what are the ethic policies, what is expected out of them. Because induction mainly involves around the ethic policies of the different organizations. Obviously, they are dealing with a lot of customer data, consumer database. They would never want somebody to come out with the unethical practices, which is the stealing of the data or using of the resources to a very unethical manner, or coming up with some unethical practices. To avoid that, so induction programs are conducted. In induction, they also involve the basic office discipline timings, the job's responsibility, the core area. But trust me, if I'll tell you deep inside, in the induction, a lot of people, when they get into, they think when they will start working onto the job, then only our judgments and our results are going to be measured. But the moment you enter into an organization and you are in that induction, your behavior, your cognitivity, the way you behave with other people, everything is being observed at a very deep level. So every day you are under the surveillance system where your each behavior, each pattern is being observed. So you got to be very, very mindful about how you really want yourself to be presented or projected in front of people. So yeah, it is one of the very important things because people feel it as a holiday time. Lunch is being served by the organization. Induction is more like a fun. It is never the case. You are being judged even in that time. So when you enter into your co-reporting boss, there is some systematic data and information which has been already served by HR to your boss. Like what is the characteristic which they have observed during this induction with you.
Priyanka, I took great pride in introducing you as a personality architect. So
thank you so much, sir.
Life is a never-ending learning process. There is no saturation point, even at the age of 80 or 90, or even if you make a century in life, and learning never stops. So the day learning stops, I think everything comes to a standstill. So, so what do you think? In today's competitive scenario, the competitive era which we are living in, do you think personality architects like you are also playing the role of a career counselor? Because, of course, there are two diverse roles, two different roles altogether. A career counselor is what we understand is basically like when a student goes from 10th to the 11th standard, then he or she has to make a choice between humanities, science, or commerce. So likewise, then it's the job of it's the role of a career counselor who can do wonders in offering an expert advice to a particular student. And then similarly, when at the time of seeking admissions in the college, the undergraduate level, that time again the role of a career counselor, or for preparing for opting for competitive exams. So do you see yourself also playing a role as a career counselor? I mean, besides being a personality architect par excellence?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I personally, there are a lot of students who I have, and they come for the advice. And though I don't have a job profile of a career counselor, but I always tell parents to watch for these two things in your children when you are choosing the career option for them. Number one, watch, observe what they are doing so much, and they are never, tired of doing it. That is their inner passion. Like there are students, who would play with the batteries and play with the wires all around. Technical field is something they feel passionate about. There are people, children, who at a very early age start getting into kitchen, do something with their skills of the cooking, start want to learn something new. Chef is something, or maybe the cooking or the culinary skills is something which they want to explore. There are people who are very good orators. They come up, they want to come up as a storyteller. They show up. They are speakers. So stage, anything which is like a comedian or a scriptwriter or anything which is related to stage or drama or, is the option for them. So the parents have to be watchful what their children do usually, and they never get bored doing it. Number one, that is the passion calling. I personally feel, even this option, even I give to my children, that you need to do a degree which is easily convertible into a job and easily convertible into business where there is no job. So it has to be a skill-based degree. What I feel, there are a lot of degrees which you also know, sir, in the universities which are offering, and there are big, big charges. Chunk of money. Parents are spending all their savings, but then there is just job as an option. There is no freelancer as an option. There is no option that people can put it into the business. So anything which you do as a child, you have to do something which is easily convertible into a business as well as into a job. That means can be converted into profession and into the job. So when your plan A fails, you already have plan B to think of. That's what my
Absolutely.
take. Yeah.
Absolutely. So now, so basically, you're also trying to suggest, or you're trying to say here that simultaneously, I mean, you are counseling the students the young minds as well as their parents. Parents, why I
Yeah.
say, because you advise them not to enforce their views on the
Exactly.
young minds. Let them
Yeah.
think independently. Let their passion or their strengths come to the fore, and give them an independent choice, so that eventually they are able to give their level best in the fields, in the avenues of their choice. And I think that
Yeah.
is what matters most at the end of the day. And because
Exactly.
unless and until you're passionate about one particular field, you cannot give your level best, your 100%. So I think
Right.
very well asserted. uh, so now, because you've also been associated with the beauty industry, so you've been
Yeah.
grooming a lot of models,
Pageant.
and then
Yeah.
people who are pageants. Yes, so you've been judging also different fashion contests, beauty contests. So why don't you share some golden moments, golden your accomplishments, and then how has the journey been so far, and how have you done the balancing act between both the fields? I mean, the career, the grooming part, and the beauty industry.
Thank you, sir. So basically, the profile grew. And my profile have been the same. It is personality enhancement. It is helping people how to come up with their thoughts, how to come up, how to be more presentable. The perspective was this only, and this had been my job all about. But as the profile grew, I got into corporates, I got into youth empowerment into institutions, then I got into pageants. They were all offering coming from different dimensions because we need to understand this is applicable at each level. All of us need to have a way to present in a very nicer way. All of have this need of an hour to be more presentable, to be more acceptable, to be more influenced. So this is how it grew. But I find there is something in the beauty industry which people often mistakenly take it and assume it to be. Like I saw a lot of models and pageant contestants really getting into the pageant world just to think that if they have got looks, the looks are the only dimension. It is helping them to win the contest or to get the shows or to get a lot of pageants or maybe the fashion shows. But they will fail in spite of the fact they have the best of the best figure, they have the best of the best looks. They've got everything so best, so wonderful. They've got best of the dresses to flaunt, the best makeup artists. still they don't make embark in the journey. And the reason is this hoop seeding, which I mentioned. So the internal self is not confident, and they'll end up comparing themselves. They'll end up getting into the fights. They'll end up getting into, how people in the pageants judge. Being jury, I myself being a jury. So how the jury is judging you? Jury is never judging you on the base of the dress which you are carrying on the stage. Jury is judging you. Even anybody in this world, you can always judge somebody the way somebody treats to his people who work for him. Suppose if there is, when the same contestant, when walks on the stage, they comes out to be very beautiful, but in the backstage they are fighting or they are arguing or they are not being helping and supportive. These things are taken into consideration. The second thing which is considered is how person is based on their as a role model, because they are appointing people who are going to be role model for many. What they have to offer to the society back. So if you are at a position when you want to give something to the society, and this is now not just limited to the contest, but you have been continuously doing these activities in the past, this comes as a, one of the points for you to come into a winning lead. So there are a lot of dimensions. It's just not the physical beauty and appearance any longer. When we see such pageants who come out to be winner, they win because they win people heart first, and then they win their influence, and they win their eyes, and then they win their smile. So it's just not the things which you are just like an eye candy, but a complete package as a role model to be projected in front of society. So the young learners can come and take inspiration.
So basically, summing up what you have just said is the holistic grooming, overall grooming.
Exactly.
Wherein it's not just the external looks, the appearances, which would actually clinch the battle for you. It is a totality of your inner beauty component as well, which would actually bring you laurels, win you the crown. And I think that is what sets a winner apart from the rest of the other candidates in the fray. Well said, well said, well articulated, Priyanka. So, again, I would come back to the same thing when we talk about the growing craze for the beauty industry, and a lot of people aspiring to actually sashay down the ramp and then put their best foot forward. So, and everyone is a winner at the end of the day, because irrespective of who walks away with the crown, but I think whoever participates, that is a feat in itself. Because if you are able to overcome the fear, the stage fear, and then if you are able to present your views, to the audience across, I think that is laudable itself. So how do you actually, ensure? Because nowadays what is happening is that a lot of in the beauty contest we see the usual run-of-the-mill answers being given by the pageants, these different contestants. They say we'll all be undertake some social causes and then become brand ambassador for women empowerment, for girl child education. So how do you ensure that they actually speak from their hearts and actually they say something which goes well with their personality and not say something out of context? Sorry.
Right, sir. So you know what? At the time when you get into the pageant, they take every pageant contestant is asked for their Facebook and social handles. Now, people usually give it very freely with thinking that it is for their promotion. But the organization who are running this contest, they take it to understand how they have been really doing the social activities, and they really go through the timelines and the kind of activities which is involved. Now, हम सबकी ना आजकल दो तरह की जिंदगी है. एक तो हम जो सोशल हैंडल पे दिखाते हैं, एक हमारी पर्सनल जिंदगी. सोशल हैंडल पे आप जो भी दिखाते हैं, लोग आपको वैसे ही प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं. Now, there are women who get into a disqualified round because उनकी सोशल हैंडल्स पे जब भी कुछ देखने को मिलता है, हमेशा hated comments, comparisons, something which is not relevant, and then they are swearing by कि हम लोग ये grooming करेंगे, हम लोग women empowerment करेंगे. तो उनके आपको status से ही पता चल जाएगा that they have not been into this activity, and whatever they are saying is just a projection.
Yes. With no offense to anyone, but absolutely, because it should actually be in sync with their overall personality.
Exactly.
So if they are saying something there on the stage, before the
Right.
eminent jury, and then they have not actually done anything concrete, substantial, then it does not go
Right.
well, and that is the reason why the jury also rejects them. So I think what they should say something which they have actually done and they've actually lived up to all their life.
Right.
So
एंड सर
I think
सेकेंडली
that
एक और
again.
चीज है इसमें, जितने भी पर्सनालिटी आर्किटेक्ट्स होते हैं हम लोगों को एक बॉडी लैंग्वेज रीडिंग बहुत अच्छे से आता है. तो जब ज्यूरीज बैठे होते हैं तो ज्यूरी में यूजुअली यू हैव दिस काइंड ऑफ पीपल, 2 or 3 people into this role who are mentor also, who have spent time with them backstage and who are also on the jury panel. नाउ जब भी आप कोई चीज इमेजिनेटरी बोलते हैं तो आपकी आईलिड हमेशा राइट साइड पर एंगल करके बोलेगे बिकॉज उसका कोई रिलेटिविटी है ही नहीं. अगर आप किसी बच्चे से कुछ पूछेंगे कि आप बड़े होकर क्या बनना चाहते हो तो वो राइट साइड पे आपको आइडेंटिफाई करके बताएगा ये बनना चाहता हूँ. वो झूठ नहीं बोल रहा, ये इमेजिनेटरी है उसका कि वो बनेगा. और जब भी कोई चीज आपसे कोई पूछे कि आपने क्या किया है और अगर आप सच बोल रहे हो, मेमोरी लेन से निकाल कर बोल रहे हो, तो आप हमेशा लेफ्ट एंगल को देखोगे, आपकी आई अचानक से वहां जाएगी और आप उस इंफॉर्मेशन को प्रोसेस करके बोल दोगे. तो जब भी हम स्टेज पर व्हेन द कंटेस्टेंट आर देयर, व्हेन दे आर आंसरिंग, ट्रस्ट मी देयर बॉडी लैंग्वेज टेल्स इट ऑल. So sometimes when they are even telling something which is fabricated and their voice is going unsyncing with their eyes and their hands are going unsyncing with their body, so which really depicts the picture that there is no truth into that
There is no
statement.
synchronization. There is no synchronization
Exactly.
between their
Exactly.
actual personality and what they are actually saying on the stage before the
Projecting.
jury.
Yeah, it's incorrect. Yes, unmatched.
Correct. Absolutely. So how has the experience been so far? And what do you think is the actual, the need of the hour in today's stressful times when there is uncertainty about the tenure of the corona lockdown, and then people confined within the four walls of their homes? So,
Right.
what kind of calls do you get from people who seek your expert advice, suggestions in these times?
Thank you, sir.
What is the one common question which they are asking you time and again?
The one common question which they're asking, what will happen? What will happen to our education? What will happen to our college? Because there are both students who have got their one exam on hold. There are children who don't have a school, and there is no dates also when the schools are likely to get open. So there are parents who are concerned about how to really invest into their time. So this is like fear, the fear of uncertainty. Now my take to you all is, all the viewers, जिंदगी वैसे भी अनसर्टेन ही है हम सबके लिए, राइट? ऐसा नहीं कि कोरोना के आने से कुछ और अनसर्टेनिटी बढ़ गई है. हाँ, कुछ चेंजेस हुए हैं हमारी जिंदगी में, बट अनसर्टेनिटी इज पार्ट ऑफ द लाइफ. So maybe we'll have to all live up to it with the corona. But जब भी आप जिंदगी में कोई भी मोमेंट, कोई भी दिन जिए, किसी के साथ भी कोई इंटरेक्शन कीजिए, तो उस इंटरेक्शन को ऐसा ही समझ के कीजिए कि मेरा लास्ट इंटरेक्शन है इस इंसान के साथ, एंड आई वांट टू स्प्रेड हैप्पीनेस एंड पॉजिटिविटी. दैट्स इट. When you have this in mind and when you want to invest your each minute into productive and constructive way, I think you live your day you live like million years in one day itself. Why do you have to wait कि मैं 70s का होगा तब जाकर स्पिरिचुअलिटी प्रैक्टिस करूंगा? आप स्पिरिचुअलिटी को आज भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. आप अपने फोकस को, अपने ग्रोथ को, अपने इन्फ्लुएंस को, अपने ऑरा को बढ़ा सकते हैं. एंड फॉर दिस यू डोंट हैव टू वेट फॉर 70 years to come, बिकॉज तब आप किसी और काम के रहेंगे ही नहीं. तो अब आप स्पिरिचुअलिटी करेंगे तो कोई फायदा नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है. सो इन्वेस्ट योर टाइम इनटू बिल्डिंग द रिलेशनशिप. Fill your life with love, growth, and perspectives. Use every minute as it is your last minute, and you want to make best out of it. तो मुझे हमेशा ये लगता है सर, जिंदगी में जब भी आप कोई काम करें तो उसे ऐसा करके कीजिए कि इस चीज से मुझे क्या मिलने वाला है. जस्ट हैव अ क्लियर बैलेंस शीट आउट ऑफ इट, प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, कि मुझे इससे कुछ ग्रोथ मिल रहा है तो मैं इसमें इन्वेस्ट करूँ टाइम. क्या मुझे इससे कुछ लर्निंग मिल रही है तब मैं इससे इन्वेस्ट करूँ. Am I being a better person in the journey? Then I should invest my time. If the answer to anything is no, then don't invest time. And उस सब चीजों के लिए आप थोड़ा सा टाइम बचा सकते हैं, फ्री टाइम अगर निकले तो. But try to make every moment feel beautiful. Live it up to, of a humanity. Yes.
Right.
I
So Priyanka,
personally follow it.
Right. So Priyanka, you've carved a niche for yourself as not just a personality architect, but also as a bilingual coach. So how important and what is, do you actually think that in today's scenario, if you converse in your mother tongue, that would actually make all the difference in the world. Because in between, you were mentioning all these quotes, and then that has its own special role. Because if you're facing the interview and you're opting for you're seeking a very a job of your liking and something which you have always desired for. So if there you start conversing in your mother tongue, do you think that has a very special role to play, and that leaves an everlasting impression on the mind of the one who's actually interviewing you?
So there are two perspectives to it. आप जिस जॉब के लिए जा रहे हैं या जिस काम के लिए जा रहे हैं, does it need any interaction? Does your job demand you to be interacting with global companies or global people or global customers? If it is the case, then English is one of the common language which is considered like everywhere. So a good command over this language is at least must, because your job is not just domesticated, it is global. And you will be doing the communication with them.
We have always taken pride. We have always taken pride of our mother tongue, and we love speaking, conversing in Hindi. And then, because if you ask about, if I talk about myself, then I always take pride. I may be going on different English channels for my political debates, but then nothing more enchanting than conversing in your own mother tongue, because I feel that it leaves an everlasting impression. And I think so you also second what I...
बिल्कुल 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 सर, मैं बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ आपसे. हिंदी की अपनी खूबसूरती है.
And in fact, lot of my friends, lot of my NRI friends also, I sometimes I get this impression that if I need to converse with them only in English, but then much to my utter surprise and joy, they talk in such fluent Hindi. And so the years of having stayed in the greener pastures overseas has not changed them a bit. And in fact, on the contrary, they love conversing in Hindi. That is how they feel comfortable. So as a bilingual coach, the last question to you, this very stimulating discussion we've had so far. So do you think that if we actually go back to our roots and start conversing in Hindi more, because eventually it is your own, as you rightly said, it's your skills, your knowledge, which would make all the difference, land you a particular good job. But then, communication can be in any language.
Yeah.
Communication can be in any language. In office, you are not required to converse in English unless and until you give some.
Unless and until there is a whole demand, obviously, you are not like demanded to be speaking in English all the time. और हिंदी की अपनी खूबसूरती है सर, बहुत ही सरल भाषा है और बहुत ही सहजता से लोगों के दिलों तक छू जाती है. जब भी हम अपनी भाषा के अंदर बात करते हैं तो हमारे इमोशंस और हाव भाव बड़े अच्छे आते हैं. अगर आप किसी हिंदी स्पीकर को इंग्लिश बोलते हुए देखेंगे, वो इंग्लिश बोल तो रहा होगा लेकिन वो एक्सप्रेशन मिस कर देता है, तो जिसकी वजह से उसकी इंग्लिश इतनी इम्पैक्टफुल नहीं लगती. तो अगर आप किसी भी भाषा का चयन कर रहे हैं बोलने में, तो उसका जो हाव भाव है उसको मत भूलिए, बिकॉज वही उसकी खूबसूरती बढ़ाते हैं, चाहे आप हिंदी में कन्वर्ट करें या इंग्लिश में. एंड हमारी खुद की लैंग्वेज का बहुत ही प्यारा, मुझे खुद 5 भाषाएं आती है, बट हिंदी इज समथिंग आई रियली लव टू स्पीक, आई रियली लव टू लिसन टू. इनफैक्ट बहुत सारे हमारे गुरुज हैं जिनकी हिंदी में बड़े प्यारे प्यारे से ज्ञान आते हैं, और आजकल रामायण से बड़ी सुंदर शब्दों की उच्चारण सुनकर भी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. सो समथिंग ब्यूटीफुल ऑब्वियसली. सो एवरी लैंग्वेज इज ब्यूटीफुल, बट जिस भी भाषा में आप कंफर्टेबल है और अपने पॉइंट्स को बहुत अच्छे से कम्युनिकेट कर पा रहे हैं, तो उसका जरूर चयन कीजिए.
So while interacting with students in different universities where you go as a guest faculty, so you balance your time between both the languages, English and Hindi?
Right, sir, wherever it is demand, because sometimes I have a period of the linguistic skills, which means that I have to improve their language skills. And obviously all the universities are demanding it to be English. In that way, we obviously use the first medium as English. But when there are casual talk and discussions, and of the track, then obviously there is Hindi and mix. So it is both.
जब राकेश शर्मा से हमारी लेट प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंदिरा गांधी जी ने पूछा था कि आपको यहाँ से हिंदुस्तान कैसे लग रहा है, जब वो स्पेस शटल में थे, कॉस्मोनॉट राकेश शर्मा, तो उन्होंने कितना सुंदर जवाब दिया था. उन्होंने बोला, मैं बिना किसी झिझक के कह सकता हूँ, सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा. तो वो ऐसे जो ऐसे शब्द थे, ऐसे बोल थे कि जो आज तक हमारे जहन में हैं। और यही खूबसूरती है, देखिए, हमारी हिंदी भाषा की, हमारी मदर टंग की, कि हम कहीं भी चले जाएं, 7 समंदर पार चले जाएं, कहीं भी चले जाएं, वी गो प्लेसेस, बट देन it is our mother language and our ethos, our age-old traditions, values, which we have always taken pride in and which would always help us clinch the battle. And in these times of corona, let me compliment you, Priyanka, that you are doing an incredible job keeping people in the best of positivity you're spreading, and then you are helping them cope with this inevitable stress. Wish you all the best and keep this good work going. It was really an engaging session with you.
Thank you so much, sir. I wish 10 News a very, very successive year ahead. I've personally known you. I know I can't stop myself appreciating you, and let me not stop myself appreciating you. I know the kind of person you are. You've always worked on different environment prospects. You have always worked with people of a different needs, and you brought the real issues of society up forward. And I hope through this medium, we really bring a lot of valuable information for a lot of our viewers who get benefit. And thank you so much, 10 News. Thank you so much, Bipin sir. It was pleasure having with you, a conversation with you.
Thank you,
It's a dream thing.
Thank you, Priyanka. This really makes my day. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the esteemed viewers for sparing your invaluable time.